For many men crossing into their 50s and beyond, mornings can feel more draining than restorative. You wake up after what should have been a full night of sleep, yet instead of feeling renewed, you're weighed down by a foggy heaviness that lingers through the day. That sense of fatigue isn't just physical, it affects your mood, your motivation, and even the way you approach intimacy. What once felt like a joyful and spontaneous expression of connection can begin to feel like a chore, something you push yourself through instead of naturally enjoy. If this description feels familiar, you're far from alone. It is one of the most common concerns I hear in my practice. But here's the important part. The answer is rarely found in more pills, more pressure, or more frustration with yourself. Often the solution is surprisingly simple, and it begins not with some complicated treatment plan, but with a small adjustment to your nightly routine. As a urologist who has spent over 2 decades helping men over 50 navigate changes in their health, I've had the privilege of witnessing what works and what doesn't. My name is Dr. Isabella Rae Jane, and I want to draw your attention to a single nutrient that can completely transform how you sleep, how you feel in the morning, and how reliably your body responds when intimacy calls. It is not exotic or expensive, yet it is one of the most overlooked pillars of men's health. I am talking about magnesium, a mineral so foundational to your biology that its absence can quietly unravel everything from hormone balance to circulation to the sharpness of your mind. By the time we finish, you'll understand exactly why this mineral matters so much, what happens when you don't get enough, and how a small, deliberate step each night can restore energy, vitality, and confidence. Life after 50 ushers in subtle but undeniable shifts. Sleep becomes harder to come by no matter how tired you are. Nights are fragmented, you toss, you wake, you drift, but that deep, healing sleep that used to carry you through the day feels elusive. At the same time, sexual desire doesn't vanish overnight, but it often diminishes in small increments. You may notice that you're less eager, or that your stamina isn't what it used to be. Morning erections, once a daily occurrence, become less frequent, leaving you wondering if your body has simply decided to retire from its former vitality. Alongside these changes comes a constant fatigue, the kind that coffee can mask but not cure. And yet, instead of seeing these symptoms as requests for attention, many men interpret them as inevitable. They think, this is just what aging looks like. But the truth is often much more hopeful. Your body is not giving up. It's signaling that something is missing. That something in many cases is magnesium. Magnesium is not a trendy supplement. It is a fundamental mineral that your body requires for over 300 biochemical processes. Every time your heart beats, every time your muscles contract, every time your nervous system calms enough to allow you to drift into sleep, magnesium is quietly at work. It regulates sleep by guiding your nervous system into relaxation. It helps blood vessels remain flexible and open so circulation flows without obstruction. It supports the production of testosterone, a hormone central to energy, mood, and sexual health. And it nourishes nerve endings, so that sensations during intimacy are sharp and reliable rather than muted or inconsistent. Unfortunately, magnesium deficiency is astonishingly common, particularly among men past 50. Research repeatedly shows that most adults are not getting enough, and the reasons trace back to modern life. Processed foods strip away minerals, alcohol depletes reserves, and common medications for blood pressure, acid reflux, or diabetes further reduce magnesium levels. Add in decades of stress, poor sleep, and nutrient-depleted soils, and it's no surprise that so many men end up deficient without realizing it. What begins as mild restlessness at night can evolve into chronic insomnia. What starts as occasional fatigue can harden into daily exhaustion. And what appears to be a simple dip in libido can actually reflect systemic imbalance. Blood vessels losing their flexibility, nerves dulling their sensitivity, hormones falling out of rhythm. The symptoms of low magnesium often masquerade as normal aging, difficulty sleeping, weaker erections, fading morning energy, cloudy memory, and relentless fatigue. But when you recognize these signals for what they are, your body's quiet request for replenishment, you can take action. The solution isn't complex. Restoring magnesium is safe, natural, and profoundly effective when approached consistently. Timing is critical, and this is why I recommend magnesium before bed. Night is the body's repair window. During those hours, blood pressure lowers, breathing deepens, hormones reset, tissues repair, and energy stores are replenished. Magnesium acts as a catalyst in all these processes. When taken in the evening, it helps your brain downshift from stress to calm, your muscles relax from tension, and your nervous system enter the rhythm of rest. For men who spend nights replaying the worries of the day or staring at the ceiling with a racing mind, magnesium can be the bridge that carries you into restorative sleep. Sleep is not just about rest, it is also about hormone production. The bulk of your daily testosterone is made while you sleep. Poor sleep equals poor testosterone, which cascades into low energy, low drive, and poor performance. By supporting deep rest, magnesium indirectly but powerfully lifts your testosterone levels. At the same time, it helps your blood vessels relax, particularly in the pelvic region, making it easier for blood to flow where it's needed most. Erections are, at their core, vascular events. Without smooth blood flow, firmness falters. With nightly magnesium, many men notice the quiet return of natural morning erections, those early signals that the body is recalibrating and healing. Magnesium is not a stimulant. It doesn't force your body into overdrive the way caffeine or pills do. Instead, it whispers a message of safety, telling your body it can rest, recover, and rebuild. Think of it less as pushing your system, and more as removing the obstacles that keep it from doing what it already knows how to do. To understand its impact fully, consider the 3 pillars of sexual health: blood flow, nerve sensitivity, and hormonal balance. Magnesium influences all 3. It reduces inflammation in blood vessels, helping them remain flexible. It optimizes nerve conduction so that sensations are sharper and more reliable. And it lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that, when elevated, suppresses testosterone. By calming stress, magnesium allows testosterone to rise naturally, restoring not only libido but also energy, mood, and motivation. The downstream effects ripple through every part of your life. When sleep improves, mornings feel lighter. The fog that made concentration difficult begins to clear. You have more energy for work, exercise, and relationships. Intimacy feels less like effort and more like natural connection. You stop fearing that age has stolen your vitality and begin realizing that your body simply needed proper support. This is not magic. It is biology returning to balance. Not all magnesium is created equal. To experience these benefits, you need a form your body can actually absorb. Magnesium glycinate is often the best choice because it is gentle, calming, and doesn't upset digestion. Magnesium citrate is another good option, especially if occasional constipation is an issue. What you should avoid is magnesium oxide, which is cheap but poorly absorbed, often leading to bloating or loose stools without delivering much benefit. The dosage that works for most men is between 200 and 400 milligrams. It is best to begin at the lower end, around 200 milligrams, and see how your body responds. Take it about an hour before bed with water, but avoid alcohol or coffee, which interfere with absorption. And as always, if you have kidney issues or take prescription medications, check with your doctor before beginning supplementation. To enhance the effects, pair magnesium with a simple bedtime ritual. This doesn't have to be elaborate. A warm shower, a few minutes of stretching, or simply lying with your legs elevated while practicing slow breathing can deepen magnesium's calming influence. Over time, this routine becomes a signal to your body. It's time to rest, to heal, and to rebuild. The goal isn't perfection, but consistency. Even small steps, repeated night after night, create a foundation for change. The results often arrive quietly. Within a week or two, many men notice that sleep is deeper and mental chatter fades. Fatigue begins to lift, focus sharpens, and in the most personal way, erections become stronger, steadier, and more consistent. Not because of artificial stimulation, but because the body is regaining what it naturally knew how to do all along. Here is the perspective I want you to carry. Aging is not punishment, nor is it the end of intimacy, energy, or confidence. Too many men believe the lie that after 50 or 60, decline is inevitable. But your body is resilient. It wants to heal. It can rebuild. What it requires is not endless struggle, but thoughtful support. Magnesium won't make you 20 again, and it isn't meant to. But it will help you inhabit this stage of life with strength, clarity, and presence. The most powerful transformations often come from the simplest changes. Something as modest as adding magnesium to your evening routine can set off a cascade of renewal. Better sleep, steadier hormones, improved circulation, sharper focus, and a return of confidence. It won't shout for attention, but it will quietly, steadily, and reliably restore balance. That is what true health after 50 is about. Not chasing lost youth, but nurturing the body you have, so it thrives in the years ahead. I believe in your body's ability to recover, to regain vitality, and to reconnect you with the energy and confidence you thought were behind you. Magnesium may seem ordinary, but it can be one of the most extraordinary allies you invite into your nightly rhythm. Tonight could be the first step in a journey not of decline, but of renewal. One restful night, one stronger morning, one confident moment at a time.